What do you mean it's in the hands of, because you've said this 3 times now, please.
It's in the, sorry?
That it's in the hands of South Africans.
Well, it's in the hands of South Africans. As you would have heard, we've spoken about parliamentary sovereignty. And what we're seeing now is judicial sovereignty. And we're saying every single time Parliament takes a decision and makes a decision, it's always being changed by judges. And that's a problem. So, and they forget, but these are unelected judges. And that's what we're saying. It's not the will of the people that has been concluded here. The will of the people is per what Jerome Konazi has said. That people today are dying on a daily basis. Our kids and the communities are facing the scourge of drugs, and there are criminals out there. And the president, quite honestly, is also complicit here. If you look at what is happening here, the state and the judiciary is criminalizing the state. The judges are criminalizing the state. And we're saying that this needs to stop. The people of this country are the ones that voted for Parliament. They are the ones that voted and ensured that the laws that are pushed through Parliament must be implemented by judges. Not judges are interpreters of the law, not implementers of the law, in actual fact. So we're saying the will of the people must resonate with all decisions that are taken.
But Mr. Mpofu, you separating what he said in the affidavit and in his and all of that, it just gives me problem, because I'm trying to summarize what his version is.
Well, all Lieutenant General Konazi said was the judiciary as an institution is implicated in drug dealing,
But Mr. Mpofu, you separating what he said in the affidavit and in his and all of that, it just gives me problem, because I'm trying to summarize what his version is.
Well, all Lieutenant General Konazi said was the judiciary as an institution is implicated in drug dealing, in the cartels, in the money laundering or whatever the things. Now,
okay, all right.
Okay,
continue.
So this is what we are saying. We are saying that, Justice Chico, let me make this graphic for you. We say on the facts of this case, for the first time in South Africa, a Lieutenant General says that after police investigations, they have found that the judiciary is involved in crime and corruption and all the things, the sordid things that Justice Konazi...
and the President's take on that is that it's highly unlikely that they would implicate judges of this court, because criminal cases starts at the magistrates' court at a lower level, and then perhaps the high courts.
No.
And then he says that when he decided to speak to the Chief Justice, he had this in mind, that at least this court would not have been dealing with matters pertaining to criminal investigations and all of that.
Firstly, the President never said that. That when he spoke to the Chief Justice, he had in mind that he spoke to the Chief Justice about the identification of the judge. So he never said that. Let's be fair to him.
In his heads of arguments, what does he say?
No, he says the following, which is an afterthought. It's what we call ex post facto rationalization. He now says that in any event, Justice Madlanga would be untainted by the accusation, by the Mkonazi accusations, because of what you've just said. Because criminal cases start in the magistrate. But so what? Criminal cases also come here.
But Mr. Mpofu, you separating what he said in the affidavit and in his and all of that, it just gives me problem, because I'm trying to summarize what his version is.
Well, I'm afraid, Justice Chick, if I'm not allowed to correct what you are saying.
No, you're allowed.
The President did not say that
You're allowed.
Yeah, he never, I can assure you now, I've read these papers 1,000 times. The President of South Africa has never said that when he spoke to the Chief Justice, he did so because of that other thing that he says about the Constitutional Court cases. He never said that, to be fair to the President. So I was simply trying to explain that. If it's here, someone else will show it to me. But it is not here. The president says two things. He says, in identifying the judge, so I spoke to the Chief Justice to ensure what he calls the legitimacy and gravity of the commission, and therefore we agreed on the acting Deputy Chief Justice. He says that. In a different place, when he's now talking about the fact that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi implicated the judiciary, he then says, well, in any event, I am of the view, I'm reliably informed, something like that, that the Constitutional Court judges could not be covered in the he says, this is at page 81. There is no suggestion by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi of any impropriety at the level of the justices of the Constitutional Court. The allegations implicating members of the judiciary pertain to criminal proceedings. Where he gets that is I don't even know where he gets that. And then here's the part. As far as I have been able to ascertain, that's the expression I was looking for. As far as I have been able to ascertain, none of the proceedings to which the allegations relate was ever referred to the Constitutional Court for adjudication. Well, this statement is fraught with illogicality. Firstly,
but who is saying this, Mr.?
It's the President of South Africa.
Yes, and when I was engaging you, I was summarizing what was in the founding affidavit and what is in his. And I'm talking about a version here, and I'm not quoting verbatim.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you're right, Justice Sheik. But the point I'm making is this. Let's look at it. Let's look at it on its terms. Let's look at it on its terms. Not worry about whether it was linked to the Chief Justice or not. Let's forget about that. Let's look at it now on its terms. At paragraph 27. I'm saying this thing is fraught. It's fraught. Sorry. It's fraught with illogicality, Justice Sheik, as follows. You can't come for the first time in your answering affidavit and say that there's no suggestion in Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi of any impropriety at the level of the justices of the Constitutional Court. Where does that come from? Justice Madlanga, who's part of the judiciary, all Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi said was, he never said judges in the magistrate court, in the high court, in the SCA, in what he said, the judiciary as an institution is implicated in drug dealing, in the cartels, in the money laundering or whatever the things. Now, let me say this very clear. I am sitting here, now I'm speaking for myself. I do not believe that those allegations, cover the entire judiciary at West. It would be ridiculous. But that's not the point. The point is this, Justice Sheik. The institution, and the President uses that word, by the way, in his announcement, or rather in the terms of reference. The institutions that have been accused include the judiciary. Now picture this, Justice Sheik, in your own mind. We are in a court of law. Complainant is Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. And he says, the accused are the Metro Police, the judiciary, the correctional services, politicians, and so on. They are lining up here. And you then say, one of the accused must go and be the judge. Oh, sorry. You look like an accused.
For now, let me allow my colleagues. Let me allow my other colleagues to pose their questions. If there's a burning question, I feel
yes.
I need to ask you.
Maybe then, Justice Sheik.
Yes,
thank you. Can I just take advantage of the fact that we touched on the JSC thing, so that I just complete that point. Yes. So the point about the Nemo UDEX, which is an obvious principle of our law, that you can't be the judge in your own way, you can't be an accused and you can't be a referee and a player, as people would say in the street. It's a simple concept of law. So that's the first thing. But we then go further and we say that in any event, even if this was not even if this was a non-judicial commission, so to speak, and we know we've had those. We had the TRC had a bishop as a chair, the Muarane Commission had an advocate as a chair, and so on. So there's nothing that compels the president to have a judge. But we say even if this was we say even if this was a non-judicial commission, it would be problematic for a second reason, which is that you would be imbuing that commission. Let's, for argument's sake, call it now the Muarani Commission, not the Matlanga Commission. You would be imbuing that commission with the power to investigate the conduct of judges. Okay? That function is constitutionally and exclusively preserved for the JSC. So you cannot usurp the powers, for all the reasons that we know, to preserve the independence of the judiciary and so on and so on. You can't now have a new entity called the Madlanga Commission or the Muarane Commission or whatever commission for that matter, or the My Nature Commission. You can't have that commission investigating the conduct of judges, because there are constitutional reasons why that function is specifically preserved for the JSC or the Magistrates Commission. So that's a second reason, assuming we're wrong about the first one of Nemo UDEX. But those two, so please, nobody must say we're saying there should be no commission. We might think it, or the public might think it, but we're saying that on these facts, a judicial commission, when the judiciary is one of the accused, is constitutionally inappropriate. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mr.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, this is something that now the South Africans themselves and the people on the ground must take into their own hands. Because this court is now no longer, and this judiciary is no longer a judiciary for the people, as we've said, and as MCHUNU has said, they are implicated, especially because they're trying to push for a judicial commission of inquiry. I mean, you would have heard, as Simpofu did mention yesterday, that why should it be a judicial commission of inquiry when in actual fact you can have just a commission of inquiry first and foremost, which in this case, we've said there's no need for that. Because Jerome Kanazi's political killings task team has been effective. 436 people arrested and charged. Even after he had made those accusations, which people see as accusations, which we believe there is something there was people that have been arrested. So why not allow that process to continue? Instead, these courts are being used now to participate and infringe on police work. And on that, I'd like Simpofu to also make a comment.
Before you enter, what stops the MK from heading to the High Court on an urgent basis at this stage?
And to interject in the inquiry, I mean, that's something that was heard yesterday.
Is it something you want to be doing?
Look, we have to consult. This is a very serious issue. We're going to consult. I need to consult with the national officials, obviously with our legal team, but as to what the next steps are. But in this country, quite honestly, this is more than anything else, just a travesty of justice.
Mr. Mpofu, yesterday, thank you so much, Ntambulo, if we could just ask you, because part of what was asked, or what was waged against you, was that you were being personal, you were almost playing to the political gallery, and you weren't actually dealing with the law, which is perhaps why this is the outcome that has been reached.
Okay, well, I'm not going to comment on...
Just step forward.
Okay, thanks, yeah. No, I can't comment on that kind of thing. I just wanted my attorneys here, and normally I wouldn't be commenting on this case, but since my attorney has given me an instruction to deal with the matter, because he has been in touch with our client, who has asked us to express his own shock at this, and we will be consulting with him. I can't deal with the merits of the case, obviously, for obvious reasons. Depending on what is going to happen, I can deal with it now because there's no case as we speak. There's no case that is pending. But I don't know what's going to happen in the future in relation to this matter. We might be back in this court, we might be in another court. So the only issue that I really want to, that I can comment on, because I can talk about general without talking about the merits, is just to touch on one of the issues that Mr. Nkela was talking about, which is the fact that the issue of direct access, which seems that even yourselves you don't understand. Direct access is only meant for cases which should otherwise be going to the High Court. So that question doesn't arise of saying, why did you not go to the High Court? Because that question could have been asked to us when we were here for the Nkandla case. It could have been asked to us when we were here for the secret ballot case. It could have been asked when we were here for the impeachment case, all cases that were against President Zuma. But most of all, it should have been asked by you when the Zondo Commission came here directly. What stopped it from going to the High Court? And nobody seems to be asking those questions. So from a legal point of view, I just want to clarify that. Whenever there's a difference between exclusive jurisdiction and direct access. Exclusive jurisdiction is when only this court has jurisdiction. But direct access is when other courts have jurisdiction, but there are, in the interest of justice, compelling circumstances for you to come here. I think the public must understand the difference between those two things. So the only question, put aside the question of exclusive jurisdiction. On direct access, the only question is whether anyone in this country thinks that these issues that were raised by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, which have affected all South Africans, are of sufficient significance for them to have warranted direct access compared to all these other issues. Nkandla, secret ballot, all the cases that were given direct access. And that would be our approach from a legal point of view. Yeah. We can't comment on the issues that Mr. Nkela is raising, which are in the political space.
I mean, Mr. Mpofu, you were one of the people who brought about this rescission application in about 2021. Is that something that could be an option for you?
Well, all options are on the table until we have consulted with the clients and attorneys. There's no option that's off the table. But the point of the matter is that I think, as Mr. Nkela said, it's really in the hands of South Africans. If they think they want to know whether the commission is an illegal commission, whether the minister is an illegal minister, whether the leave of absence is illegal. If they want to know that, then they will find ways to find the truth, because this is their country.
Time is of the essence. Tomorrow, Firoz Cachalia steps into the role as acting police minister. So in terms of how quickly you're going to make a determination, is that something that you're going to be dealing with as a matter of urgency, or, as you're saying, you're going to leave it in the hands of South Africans to decide?
Well, speaking for myself, I'll leave it in the hands of the client, but Mr. Nkela will leave it in the hands of South Africans.
All right, Advocate Darling Mpofu.
So what represents the streets? Well, you know that we said that we've got a three-pronged approach. We said that we're going to have a program in Parliament. In Parliament, we obviously now have tabled a motion of no confidence with the President. We mentioned that we obviously going to take it to court, which is this case, and then the other one was that it's going to be to the streets.
Obviously, we saw that establishment of the ad hoc committee. Now members are going to be part of it. Are you confident that it will deliver its final outcomes that will speak to what needs to be done?
Well, I mean, again, that's just going to be a process in Parliament that's being undertaken by Parliament and parliamentarians that will participate. But remember, let's not forget that General Mkhwanazi raised the fact that there are parliamentarians that are implicated and probably complicit in criminality. So, one of the things that does concern us, in as much as there'll be an ad hoc committee, is who's going to participate in that and whether there's any connection with them as parliamentarians, as raised by General Mkhwanazi, participating in this. So that's going to be something very interesting to see how it pans out. But I would say, and we would say, that it's going to be important that those that are going to participate, that a proper vetting process is done, and that they're not also found to be implicated. Otherwise, the process will not hold any water.
Just for clarity's sake, as the MK party, have you tried or endeavored to meet with General Mkhwanazi?
No. We're a political party. What we do is we engage with the police by portfolio committees.
Ntamulo, what do you mean it's in the hands of, because you've said this 3 times now, please.
That it's in the, sorry?
That it's in the hands of South Africans.
Well, it's in the hands of South Africans. As you would have heard, we've spoken about parliamentary sovereignty. And what we're seeing now is judicial sovereignty. And we're saying every single time Parliament takes a decision and makes a decision, it's always being changed by judges. And that's a problem. So, and they forget, but these are unelected judges, and that's what we're saying. It's not the will of the people that has been concluded here. The will of the people is per what General Mkhwanazi has said. That people today are dying on a daily basis. Our kids and the communities are facing the scourge of drugs, and there are criminals out there. And the president, quite honestly, is also complicit here. If you look at what is happening here, the state and the judiciary is criminalizing the state. The judges are criminalizing the state. And we're saying that this needs to stop. The people of this country are the ones that voted for Parliament. They are the ones that voted and ensured that the laws that are pushed through Parliament must be implemented by judges. Not judges are interpreters of the law, not implementers of the law, in actual fact. So we're saying the will of the people must resonate with all decisions that are taken.
MK has voiced out that they are not satisfied with the ConCourt judgment that came out today, and they still have to report to MK President and the High Command of MK to see the way forward. But it doesn't look good, because as far as we know, the president, Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, is implicated, and most the ANC members are the ones who are working with the syndicate in the country. And now the country is no more in the South African hands. But then if the court doesn't interpret the law, then they cannot implement the law. That is not our jobs. What they have to do, they have to look into what has been brought to them, then they interpret it and apply the law equally to each and every party. Because we remember in the Zuma case, what happened with Zondo. Zondo went straight to the highest court of the land, and Zuma was arrested and sent to jail. They never went to the high court first. We can count a number of cases whereby this has been happening. But now that the MK has made an agent application, they are denied. For what? It doesn't make sense. I think what Nhlamulo Ndlela has said there, and their lawyer, Advocate Mpofu, they are right. What is more dangerous is when South Africans will take the law into their hands, and that will be a really chaos, because judges are not elected, but parliamentarians are elected. So when the elected parliamentarians go back to their people and tell them exactly what is happening now, because we know the crime is too high in the country, they are trying to defuse the crime. But because the president himself is implicated with his whole crew of ANC, they are part of this. So now they are trying to hide something. And the courts are helping them, which is not a good thing. Family, what do you think about this? Do we think our country will be governable after this case? Drop your comments and tell us what you think. Because we want a country that is governable, that has got the rule of law. Not when judges, because going to the courts is the last resort, that you want your problems to be amicable and balancedly treated by the courts. But if this happens, then the problem starts. Because people have got nowhere to run. Because even the police are also implicated in this. They're working with the syndicates. Please drop your comment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. What is your opinion? Let us fix our country. Bravo, bravo, bravo.